Support for this program provided by...
Hello folks, it's Monday, you're back at work, and I'm not your boss, but I'm going to ask you, what are you doing? I'm your host, Chad Stanton, and I hope you had a good and relaxing weekend. I myself, I have not been sleeping well these days. I don't know what it is, but regardless, the show must go on. Now, last week I had said that if I didn't have at least 10 entries, that I probably wouldn't do this episode for the week. Well, you all must have been paying attention and responded, because I've got a whole bunch this week, and so I better get right into it. Bill Grispin. Bill and I, we've been talking quite a bit online, and Bill's been making these desks for his family, and I think this one was for his daughter. Now, each one of these desks has a glass top on it. His wife really likes that. And what Bill did was he originally got these plans, and they were for a coffee table, and he modified it and is turning into a desk for his daughter. And he made some improvements to it. I guess on the original drawing it had dowels, and then he modified it to tenons, and he put a drawer in it. It had a stretcher that went right in the middle. He modified that and moved it to the back. So this is a great example where we can get inspiration from other pieces, and we can take something, an idea that was a coffee table in this case, and modify it, turn into a desk that I'm sure his daughter is going to love. Okay, we're going to Australia, and my good friend Peter Compton is down there. Peter makes all different kinds of furniture pieces, and in this case, he did one for his neighbor. Yes, his neighbor had this empty wine barrel, and she wanted a table for her back patio. So he accommodated her with that by making this. And he even put casters on it. So when bad weather comes, she can easily roll it to inside or under some shelter to protect it. But either way, pretty cool looking table. I love the look of that. So nice job, Peter. Daryl Metheny. Daryl has posted pictures on the show in the past, and this time he made some bookends for his granddaughter. Now, from this photo, they look like they are incredibly huge bookends, so I don't know if they're giants over there or if she just reads some rather big books, but either way, pretty cool stuff. And Daryl said that he's been watching our series on workbenches, and he calls his workbench the Beast because it weighs over 200 pounds. And I'm hoping that your shop is pretty organized and clean and you're not moving that around to get stuff when it falls behind there, because 200 pounds is quite a load to move. Either way, Daryl, we thank you for your pictures, and I'm curious to see what you'll be building next on the Beast. David Bishop. David Bishop made this vinyl storage rack for his wife. Now, what I liked about this was David had a few rules that he was trying to meet when he did this. He said it had to be lightweight, it had to mount on the wall, it had to hold at least 40 rolls of the vinyl, and he wanted to do it with no money. Now, most woodworkers have scrap laying around in their shop. I know I got tons of it. Usually the problem is I don't have enough of one particular type of wood species to make a whole project. So I understand what David was really trying to do there, and he pulled it off. So he's got his vinyl storage rack. And he made a video for it too, so if you'd like to see the video to this, I'll put that in the description below. But as always, David, we thank you for sending your stuff in. Philip Quinn. Philip Quinn you might have seen in the past, made one of these tool chests. And he made one for a friend of his. He stained it. Well, he really enjoyed making them. And so he decided to make another one. And this time he was going with a different stain. And unfortunately, he wasn't real pleased with the color, the results of it. I totally get that. So many times I feel like a piece of furniture I've made can get ruined by the wrong color. And most of the time the customer's picking that out. But I've done a few for myself that I just can't live with the color after I put it on and wind up stripping it off. So I feel your pain there, Philip. But Philip brings up an excellent point. So he said he really enjoys making these chests. And my buddy Les told me that anytime he built a furniture piece, and Les does high-end furniture pieces, are used to. And so his rule was he always built 3 of them. He built one for himself, and he built 2 to sell. And, you know, it logically makes sense. I mean, if you go through the effort to set up that machine, to do a particular cut or make a particular router, groove, or whatever, you take the time to set it up. It's smart to do 2 or 3 more. And, you know, then if someone wants one, you've got it ready to go. You don't have to go through that whole building process again. So, Philip, you're thinking just like Les. I got to take some advice from both of you. Daniel Lawson. Daniel made this gift, and it's scroll saw work, and it's of his dad's 65 Plymouth. He said his dad loves this car more than anything. And so he took a photo of the car and then changed it over into a pattern, to which then he cut out on the scroll saw, and he added LED lights behind it, so it, you know, it'd project some light coming through it, which I thought was really cool. Kind of a neat way to show it off, especially like at night when the lights are off in the room. A really neat focal point there of it. And then the frame that he built around it was some cherry wood that he got from the Habitat Restore, which you've heard me talk about that before on the show. That's a great source of not only things for your home, but obviously in this case for doing woodworking. So great job on that, Daniel. Donald Dean. Now, if you've been watching this for a while, Donald's been working on an outfeed table, outfeed table for his table saw. And he's adding features to it. What Donald did was he got online and he saw different plans for different stuff, or maybe he got the plans from magazines. And each one had some good ideas, but didn't quite have everything that he wanted. So he made a combination of all the good ideas and put it into one. And he said it's going to have 18 crates on it. He said not drawers, but crates. And so Donald is in the process of making those 18 crates. However, Donald's progress on it has been a little slow. He said he's had some heart issues, and he has to take it easy. And I think we all can agree with this. There's nothing more important than one's health in this. So no problem, Donald. There's no race to finish this. We're not judging you. We're not timing you. Just take it easy. When you have the strength, go out and do a little bit of work. I know it makes all of us happy to do that, but we have to know our limits. So please take care of yourself. Let's see, moving on. Tom Pritchard. Tom is in the process of making some Christmas gifts, and what he's decided to do was to hand carve 75, yes, 75 little Santas. That sounds like too much work for me. I'm a guy who typically likes to make a one-off. Making it the first time I really enjoy. Making it twice, not so much. Making it 75 times, I would go crazy. But I was teasing Tom that he's probably going to be able to carve this in his sleep when he's done after making as many of those. But he's not doing it without help. No, his wife, she is doing the painting on it, and then they do a little distressing on it when it's done. So rather clever, nice pieces that he's making. I'm sure the folks that he gives them to, they'll bust it out every year and set it up. So it's a gift that will just keep on giving. Chris Bauss. Chris is making a desk for his brother, and his brother wanted a rustic style desk. And Chris had a couple things going against him on this. One was budget. So he built this out of 2x4s because either him or his brother, whoever was paying for it, just didn't have a lot of extra cash. The other thing he had going against him was to flatten the top, because 2x4s don't always make the best furniture. To flatten the top, he didn't have a surface planer to run this through, so he did it all by hand. So I enjoy doing that, but I know a lot of folks don't. I'm curious what your thoughts of that was, Chris. But either way, he accomplished it. And the third thing he had going against him, he doesn't really care for rustic style furniture. But with that being said, many times as a professional, I have to put aside my own preferences and do what the customer wants. And it looks like Chris has the makings of being a professional because he made the desk. It looks good. It has some cool features where they can fold it up and store it away. And they did that technique with the torch, where you kind of torch it, score it, and then they scraped it down and added a walnut stain over it. So nice job on that, Chris. Even if it's not your style, I love the look of it. Erskine Carter. Now, Erskine, he's posted projects here on the show in the past. And I had to laugh because Erskine starts the email off with, "I'm not slacking off," which made me feel a little bad. I hope I'm not making anyone feel pressured that they have to build stuff or they have to send it in. But either way, Erskine sent in a couple of little projects. He made an ice cream scooper, a pen out of Purple Heart, and a Post-it holder for his wife. So there we are. Thank you, Erskine. And I promise I won't put any more pressure on you. Bill Landis. Bill was going back and looking at some of my older videos, and this goes back several years. He came across my portable workbench. And this is something I should actually show again to you all, because this is a bench that I made out of necessity, working on job sites. I needed something that kind of had a little bit of everything that I have in the shop. And so I made the bench, and the bench has done really well. It's been in a couple of videos. It's been in a magazine. I think it was in a book. Anyhow, the bench has really proven to be pretty popular. I even sell plans to it online. And so what Bill did was he took some ideas from that and modified it into his. And mine is pretty basic, very simple, out of 2x12s, and just kind of screw it and glue it together. But he took this as an opportunity to put Morrison tenons on it, dovetails, and what it's doing for him is, remember the old Stanley Workmates or Black & Decker Workmates, those kind of little fold-out benches? It's a kind of like a heavy-dutier version of that. And he said it's really working out well for him. And I love the fact that he customed it to his own needs. So great job on that, Bill. I think that's really cool. Andrew Eikum. Andrew, again, has been posting his project here on the show. And Andrew is doing a TV console. He designed it, he's been building it, and he's doing it all with hand tools. That's right, hand tools the whole way. And you can see he's done a really nice job on it. It's really coming together. The whole carcass is done. It has through tenons with wedges on it. He said he's going to be making the doors next. And he's even going so far as to have a friend who's a blacksmith custom make the pulls for the doors on it. So that's going to be pretty cool. It already looks great. I can't wait to see the next step. So thank you, Andrew, for sending in the photos, and keep up that excellent work. Let's see, where are we at here? Charlie Hinton. Charlie is making a keepsake box, and he's doing it with some mesquite wood. And even though the grain on it, you can see this box, it's got some beautiful grain pattern to it. He said when he was resawing it, it had some internal tension to it. And so after he resawed it, it's given him some grief. It's fighting him. And, you know, sometimes that internal stress, that internal tension, it's hiding in the board and you can't even see it. I had a piece of, I think it was maple, that it was 10 foot long and it was arrow straight. And so I wanted to rip it down to 2 1/4 inch size there. I was making some cabinet doors. And I'm not kidding, as it just was going through the end on the table saw, it literally jumped off the table saw because it bowed and twisted so bad, which was amazing to me, Couldn't see that. It was some wood that I got from Ken Crafts, right, where I buy all my wood. And when I called him up and I said, Tracy, you know, this is what happened. He told me, yep, sometimes that happens. And Tracy was so cool about it. He said, hey, bring it back down. I'll give you another piece, no questions asked, which is very nice of them. That's what you get with a small family-owned business instead of a big box store. But regardless, the point is sometimes that's hiding in the wood. And even though we're using all our safety precaution on the saws and our tools, you do have to be careful for the unexpected. But at any rate, it looks like Charlie is fighting with it, and I think he's going to come out the winner. All right, let's see. I think this fella's new. Ray Heinrich. If I got your name right there, Ray. What Ray did was simple but effective. Ray got a cabinet from one of the corner thrift stores by him. And obviously it was originally probably intended for office use. What he did was he modified it. He took the glass top off it, put some 3/4 inch plywood on it, and now it's the perfect stand for his surface planer. So see, sometimes the projects that are on this show aren't big, they're not huge. Sometimes it just takes a little know-how, and he was able to see that sitting in the thrift store, probably being passed over by everyone, and found a use for it, and saved it from probably at one point going into the trash. So nice job on that, Ray. Mr. Moe. Mr. Moe has got another project for us this week. He made this hexagon box for his daughter. Now, it looks like the box is made out of walnut. He didn't really say what the wood was, but it looks like walnut. I'm not sure the other wood there. Some of that coloring in it looks like it might be hickory. But either way, he made that hexagon box, and that can be tricky, those angles. I was actually talking with a fellow this week about miters, and he was trying to do picture frames, and he's having sometimes, as he gets around to the fourth corner on the picture frame, it's not a quite true 45. There with Mr. Moe, he's running into that issue, but probably even more so because he's got 6 sides to it versus the 4. But didn't seem to matter. He seemed to pull it off. It looks really nice. I'm sure his daughter enjoys it. And I, of course, enjoy seeing all of your guys' stuff. So thank you, Mr. Moe. Let's see here. Oh, yeah. Jose Cepeda. Jose made this kitchen utensil organizer. And it's made out of Padauk, basswood and white oak. And what I love about that is the different colors and tones of the wood. I know many times I stain my projects, but if I can get away with not adding color, having the different woods like that just really, to me, sets it off. It looks great. I love pieces that have at least 2 tones in it. In this case, he's got 3 in it. And he's got the mitered corners on it, but he reinforced it with splines, which is smart, because if he's going to be loading stuff in there, usually someone will probably try and pick it up with one hand instead of 2s. If they pick it up with one hand, it's going to put a lot of stress on that particular piece and that joint, and the splines definitely reinforced it. That's the difference, what us woodworkers make versus what the production big factories do. Mark Fitzsimons. Mark is a good friend of mine now over there in Ireland, and Mark, if you've been watching, he's a phenomenal woodworker, and he's been working in this really high-end house. I can't even imagine what these people do for a living to make this kind of money, but he finishing up this staircase, and just look at this. It's simply amazing. It's going to be fantastic to see when it's all finished, but I can understand why Mark has probably missed a couple of weeks here on the show, because it's not exactly a project you're going to do over the weekend, but I'm sure the customer is thrilled. And if they're not, there's something wrong with them, because that's some great stuff there, Mark. So thanks for sending it in. Hoppy Lovell. Hoppy made this gun box or gun storage unit. He made it out of some reclaimed walnut from a floor. And he's used the French cleat system to hang it up on the wall. Now, if you're not familiar with a French cleat, what this does is you have one piece that sits on the wall, and it's screwed and mounted, and it's on an angle. I'm not sure what you would, 45 degree, and then on the back of the box, that also has a cleat that's 45. So when you put it on there, it has a tremendous amount of strength, because the weight is distributed across those cleats, and then it's screwed into the studs in the wall. Incredible support. It also allows you to easily remove it off the wall. It's an ideal system if you're setting up your shop and you want to have boxes or shelves or whatever that you might be moving around a lot. In this case, I think he probably wanted it for the support for the weight of the gun. And I don't know anything about guns. I don't know if that's an antique or maybe it was his grandfather's or something, but I do think it's cool that he was able to take the old walnut floor and save that and turn it into something else. So nice job on that, Hoppy. Ray King. Ray has been working on a cedar chest for his wife. And again, Ray has to take it easy. I think he's had some surgery here recently, so he can't spend a whole lot of time out in the shop, but he is out there. And he said he's got the handles made, which it looks like he made the handles himself, which is pretty impressive. So the handles are going on, and then on the top of it, he's going to have a poplar, and he's going to carve into it a hummingbird that's going to go on the lid. So slowly but surely, Ray's getting it done, and we can definitely tell he's putting a lot of time and care into it. It looks great there. So thank you, Ray, for sending that in. Let's see, I get to the other side. John Conklin. John likes to make furniture, but he also likes to make signs. And actually, I'm going to show you on Wednesday a sign that he made for me. But John decided to do his first craft show. So he made some of the stuff, took it to a craft show. He made some money there. And on top of it, he said he made some friends and had a good time. And I will say, I've done some shows in the past, not craft shows, but I've done some shows to sell my furniture. I've never had Personally, I've never had any luck doing that. It's been more work and time than what I actually made money-wise. But I definitely will say that I've made some good friends at the show like that. In fact, my one friend, Tony Carlisle, who I've known well over a decade now, I met him at a show. He had a booth a few down from me, and he liked furniture, and we started talking, and he had seen my show in the past, and, well, we're really good friends now. So, John, hey, as long as you're having a good time with it and making a little coin, keep it up. So good job on that. And I want to give a shout out to this last person, Don Bullock. Don has become a friend of mine through this show, and Don has made some great furniture pieces in the past. He has a really cool shop, but Don, too, is a little bit under the weather. He had some minor surgery on his heart. Doctor tells him that he's got to kind of like play it cool for the next month or so. Don, we hope you follow the doctor's advice, but I'm telling you, that would drive me nuts if I couldn't get out in my shop. But just take it easy. Keep on watching the show. We're going to root for you all to get better, because I know there's several of you this week that weren't feeling well. Get your rest, get better, send your pictures back into the show. And if you would like to send your pictures into the show, you can send them to woodchoppingtime@gmail.com. Or if you have a question on woodworking, I'll be happy to answer it and help you through anything. And as always, I thank you for watching the show. Please like and subscribe. Support our sponsors. And of course, as always, keep on dancing.